Welcome, everybody, to the Division C Championship. I will be your play-by-play commentator for this game, Darren Basmajan, and with me, a special guest color man, Roberto Campana, president of the league. Welcome, Rob.
Good to be here.
Your second experience, I think, doing color commentary.
First time with you. Last time is because you were in the championship game.
That's right.
Against these same Incredibles.
Well, not exactly the same. They have made a few changes that have helped them climb that championship mountain, so to speak. And this is their second championship run in a row. So we're going to see if they're going to be able to continue that playoff success that they've had in 2013. Rob, quick thoughts on the game. What do you think is the key for the Incredibles here?
It's going to be interesting to see how the Incredibles match up against a team as physical and as experienced as ONS. I know the whole experience thing seems to be something that's thrown around, kind of cliche, but it's a true asset that a team can have in this league.
Just look at the Div D championship.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a perfect example. And you know, the Incredibles, it's always been their crutch, and they've always kind of, you know, told me at least that they weren't really sure if they can keep up physically in the higher divisions, Division A, Division B. So this is really their test. They're playing guys like Robbie Robinson, you know, Corey Cook, guys that have played in Division 2, Division 1. So this is really their test to see how they'll fare in the higher divisions.
And not just that, they are facing some championship experience. When the Water Buffaloes won a championship way back when, was it 2009, I believe?
Yeah, winter 2009.
So, I mean, Craig O'Brien was the MVP of that team. He's won another championship since. Hensley Adams, Brian Lariviere were on that team. Robbie Robinson obviously is no stranger to championship games and playing excellent in them as well. So there is a lot of experience here. And then some players on this ONS team I think were members of the run when they made a prior run to the finals. Lost in the end, but still, that experience could be invaluable for them keeping up with the potent Incredibles offense. As we see Greg Stern take his first snap, surveying the field, looking to his right, and rushed, but that ball will fall incomplete. It is not a sack. Great rush by Hensley Adams, and that's not the last time we'll be saying that this game.
Absolutely. Hensley Adams is going to have to play a huge role in this game. Greg Stern, very good at checking down, going to his first, second, third reads. With the speed of Hensley Adams, it's going to make it very difficult.
It's going to make a guy like Scott Booth very important, the snapper for them. That check down is going to be vital for them.
Absolutely.
Of note, Incredibles are missing Dave Stein. He's in Europe, and so that was a key factor in them bringing in Morsink, who has been a big player for them as well, stepping up big in their game against the Wolverines last week. Another big player is Marco Antonio Bertoldi, the forgotten man of the big three.
Marco Antonio Bertoldi, or as we'll call him, Marco Bertoldi. We'll take away some of the Italianism there. Marco is an excellent football player. He's one of these guys, Darren, last year, you know, in the All-Star game, it's always one of these fun atmospheres, and I got a chance to play with the D4 All-Stars. They were short on bodies. And, you know, you can really respect the guy when you actually get on the field and play against him. Marco is an excellent defender. Very disciplined. Doesn't jump on any double moves or anything like that. Great hands. It's actually the first time I see him wear gloves all season. Great two-way threat.
Now Stern looking for second down of the game. Pumps and then goes deep to Peterson, but that was not the best throw I've seen him make. A little bit out of Peterson's grasp.
Just out of reach. You know what, Darren? That actual matchup there that we see in the back corner is going to be something that's interesting, and I'm going to keep an eye on all game. Robbie Robinson and Jacob Peterson, two of the best athletes in Flag Plus football, two of the quickest guys, fastest straight line guys. It's going to be interesting to watch these guys and see really, you know, how Jacob matches up against a guy like Robbie, who's really, you know, probably the best of the best in FPF.
And of note, the last time the Incredibles played in the finals, Jacob Peterson destroyed his opponents. Like, it wasn't even close. Scott Booth comes up with the catch with a gain of about 7, and there was no answer for Peterson. None. So that's why having a guy like Robbie Robinson can help.
It's funny, Darren, you mentioned that, because they faced a very strong team in the Buddies this past winter, and guys like Eric Vigneault, to name one, are very good defenders, and they're known for their defensive play, speed guys. But facing guys like Robbie Robinson, Corey Cook, Chris Pinsonneau, it's going to take it to another level. So we'll see how Jacob. I have no doubt that he'll be able to perform well, but it'll be a fun challenge for him.
Well, here we go now. Next play for the Incredibles offense as Stern looks to the left, caught by Peterson, but pushed out of bounds at about the 1 yard line. So just chugging along that Incredibles machine.
And it's gonna, like, as I mentioned after the last play, Darren, it's really gonna be interesting to see how some of these Incredibles players, guys like Vince Nardone, who actually has some higher division experience. He played in Division B last year. He played in Division B a few years back in 2010. But guys like Bertoldi, guys like Stern, guys like Peterson, this I feel is really, just like they did against the Wolverines a few weeks ago or last week, playing against a team like ONS, it's really going to be fun to watch them play against, a team that has that higher division experience.
Yep, here we go now. Crunch time in the red zone. Stern pumps to his left, goes back to his right, and then is sacked by Hinsley Adams. And this is going to be a great matchup. In the past, we haven't seen too many players have great success against Stern because he gets that ball out quick. But with the good defense of ONS and the great rushing of Hinsley Adams, that might be something to look out for.
And you see how Jacob ran that in and out pattern on the goal line, which he'll usually be open on. 95 out of 100 times he'll be open on that play. Robbie Robinson jumped right under it. Greg Stern made the read. He saw it wasn't there. He checked down, and Hinsley Adams was in his face. So we'll see if the combination of Robbie locking down his go-to guy and then Hinsley Adams being in his face right away as soon as he checks down, if that's going to be the difference in this game.
We see Stern whispering some last-second instructions to his snapper, Scott Booth. He's getting ready to take the snap, and now he's looking, pumping a little bit, going over the middle to Nardone, who comes up with a great catch. Great pass, great throw.
Absolutely perfect throw. Threaded the needle there, Darren.
Yeah, and that's why people, when they talk about Stern, they talk about him with reverence, that he's going to be the next great quarterback in this league.
What a throw. We have a perfect view here, right down the middle of the field. There was two big defenders right there, very tight window. Greg Stern fit it right in on a perfect throw, giving them the 6-0 lead.
And a lot of confidence there in his receiver, but also in himself, in his arm, his ability to get that past two solid defenders. 6-0 lead for the Incredibles here, scoring on their first drive. It wasn't perfect, but it was good enough for a 6-0 lead. We'll see that they're going to try and tack on some extra points. Going to Mark Bertoldi, but it is intercepted by Robbie Robinson, who goes out of bounds, and that is an incomplete or intercepted or whatever. No points on that one. Let's call it that. 6-0 lead remains for the Incredibles, and ONS will try and reply now.
And here comes Craig O'Brien, probably as opposite as you can get to Greg Stern. Not the guy with the strongest arm. He's obviously an older guy as compared to Greg Stern, but an excellent quarterback in his own right. Very experienced. He's won, like you said, Darren, you alluded to earlier, winning the championship in Division 2 in 2009. They had slayed some dragons, if you remember, on that playoff run. And OE, as they call him, he'll just take what the defense gives him, and he does a great job of matriculating the ball down the field.
Speaking of which, now he's looking wide open. On the sideline was number 22, Chris Pinsino. He's really going to find those holes in that zone. So that's something where the defensive coordinator for the Incredibles is Vince Nardone, and he's brought a facet to their team that they never had before, which they all credit for helping them get over the championship hump. And he's going to have to make a lot of adjustments, and they're going to have to try and stay ahead of Craig O'Brien, as smart a quarterback as he is. O'Brien now on first down again. Already gained a first down on his first play, and this time he throws it to Adams, who catches it, dances along the sideline, and is stopped after a gain of about 6.
Darren, you alluded to Vince Nardone calling the defense. If I was calling the defense for the Incredibles, and it's always easier from up here in the booth, I would really try to call a lot of man defense, probably more than you'd see against other teams and you've seen them use against other teams. They match up well athletically. Obviously, when it comes to ONS, Hinsley Adams and Robbie Robinson are their go-to guys. The Incredibles have the athletes to do it. They need a big body on Larry Vierre, but a guy like O'Brien tends to struggle against the man defense as compared to the zone. He will tear up your zone if he's on par that day.
Now Sapasi with the rush. O'Brien gets it out, caught by Tony Lala, and who goes down the sideline. And you mentioned a couple of guys in Adams and in Robbie Robinson, but Tony Lala is the go-to guy for Craig O'Brien.
Tony Lala is rock solid, reliable. He's like the Wes Welker to Tom Brady. That's a perfect example. He's usually lining up in the slot. It seems like he's lining up on the outside today, but he's just reliable guy. He'll run his routes. He'll do what he has to do. He'll catch the ball. You can't really.
Sorry to cut you off. He's actually the snapper.
That's there you go. That's your slot. That's about as slot as you can get.
That's exactly it. And look, he led the team in catches, yards, and touchdowns. So what more do you want from a guy?
Yeah.
O'Brien takes the snap, looking over the middle, and that is intercepted by Morsink, who ripped it away from Pinsino. Great individual effort, and that's why they brought this guy on the team.
Absolutely. Another great move by the Incredibles after bringing in Vince Nardone. You see it, Darren, over the years. A lot of teams, they had their base, but bringing in sometimes, every team has to kind of step outside of their kind of nucleus of friends and sometimes bring in guys. When they brought in Vince Nardone, it took them to another level. And now having a guy like Terrence Morsink, who doesn't just have size, but speed and football IQ, adding a guy like that to your defense is huge.
Here we go now. Touchback after the interception by Terrence Morsink. Things looking good for the Incredibles. They will try and tack on another 6 points, stretch their lead to 2 scores, and Greg Stern looking confident and poised as ever, ready to take the snap. He's surveying the field, looking, pumping, and then checking down to Booth. Comes up with a catch, gets by Robbie Robinson, gets some extra yards, and finally is stopped after a gain of about 10 yards. Great play, and Booth is a guy who we don't hear as much about on this team. Especially in the past few weeks, I remember certain columnists named Calethris saying that maybe, this was an issue for them, that maybe he can't, he's not as good as the other receiving core. But who's going to be as good as that receiving core?
Well, yeah, you don't need. At the
You
end
don't
of the
need
day,
that
Darren,
much. Yeah,
you don't need 5 all-stars on your offense. The
Exactly.
problem, if any quarterback will tell you, you have 5 guys that good, who do you feed the ball to? Too many guys are unhappy. You need role players on any team.
And the important thing is he gets that snap out good, and he's sure-handed when they need him. Deep pass to Peterson, but well covered by Robbie Robinson. That pass falls incomplete. That'll bring up 2nd down and 10.
And you know what, Darren? It's something, looking at this game from the beginning, I really think that the ONS defense matches up really well with the Incredibles. They give them looks that they probably haven't seen. They know how to call their defense. They know how to mix it up. They have an excellent rush. And most importantly, they have a guy in Robbie that can lock down, or at least do the best job of anybody in Division C at locking down Jacob Peterson. The interesting thing is going to be on the other side of the ball, and I'm curious to see if ONS can really, drive up and down the field against a younger, faster Incredibles defense. So that'll be the interesting part of this game.
Of note on both of the guys on that side. I mean, we have Nardone on that side as well now. That's tough to match up. So I mean, Robbie Robinson can't cover everybody, and Nardone is just as dangerous as Peterson if you give him some space. Speaking of Peterson, he gets the catch, gains a few extra yards on a missed tackle by it looks like Jeff Miller.
And another guy to keep an eye on is Kevin Libman. We see him walking back to the huddle. He hasn't gotten a look yet from Greg Stern. But we see him matched up against Tanner Burrell, who Tanner's a bigger guy. He's not as quick-footed as a small guy like Kevin Libman. Now, in the red zone, obviously the advantage will go to a guy like Tanner Burrell. And Tanner's a pretty quick guy for his size, but you got to guess in the open field. I mean, we saw Kevin Libman tear up Ed Shoshan's team, Tud Garni, that's it, in the Winter Division 4 semifinals. He, in his own right, another great player, a role player, but a guy that if you call upon, to make a big play, he'll make the play more often than he won't.
Absolutely, and like you said, you need role players, and I would almost classify him above a role player. It's just with all those other guys,
well, that's it on this
you won't
team.
get the attention. Exactly. Stern gets by the rush and is running, and it might get in for a touchdown. I think he's held shy. Steve Hodod with the call puts him down at about the 1 yard line, but you won't see that happen very often. First of all, you won't see Adams miss that many tackles, and second of all, you definitely won't see Stern rush for that many yards.
Hensley, you know what? It's rare you'll see him miss a flag like he did there. He flat out, he got caught with his feet in the mud. He just stopped running and he missed the flag. But give him credit. He was the one who actually ran back upfield and deflagged Greg Stern right at the 1 yard line. So we'll see if the Incredibles don't punch it in. That's a play that comes back to shine bright late in the game.
Well, here we go. Making something out of nothing. That's the name of the game. And the Incredibles certainly have been doing that so far in this game. They've got a first down at about what looks to be like the 1 yard line. Who's your go-to guy here? They're not as big as ONS, so they don't have necessarily the matchups in that.
It's going to be interesting. Yeah, here in the red zone is an interesting.
Well, question answered. Yeah. Vince Nardone back of the end zone, cutting in from the outside wide spot. They like to look for him there, and we've already seen him go for it a few times. So that's another touchdown. The lead is now 12-0 for the Incredibles. Everything going right for them so far.
Vince, quick. He's not the biggest guy, but he's quick and he's got strong hands and he knows how to get open. So in the red zone, you can talk about size all you want, but you got to get open.
Absolutely. And Vince Nardone has been doing that to great acclaim for a long time in this league, but really making his name over the past 2 seasons with the Incredibles. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Darren, as they line up for the convert here, you got to think this next drive for ONS is huge. The way the Incredibles have been driving the ball, and let's be honest, the Incredibles, their strength is their offense, as Libman converts there for the extra point.
Yeah, so 13-0,
yeah.
Continue.
And you got to think that this drive, I mean, it's so early in the game, but it's basically, it won't get more important than this. You got to think, if they get stopped here and the Incredibles can punch it in again, usually a 3-score game, where even if it's this early in the game, Darren, doesn't usually mean good things for the team that's trailing.
Especially against a team that is as offensively gifted as the Incredibles. You're not going to get 5-6 stops against them. So you need to definitely try and put some points on the board. I agree with you, though. I don't think ONS is the kind of team that'll panic either. I think they recognize that it's a long game and they have talent. Craig O'Brien looking to his left, and that pass is just past the outstretched fingers of Tony Lala down the left sideline.
And I was curious to see what his first play would be out. And see that just shows the veteran savvy of Craig O'Brien. A lot of younger guys, they'd fall behind 13-0. They'd get into panic mode, especially this late in the season. Teams that are in the finals, Darren, haven't trailed much during the season, usually anyway. So, you fall down 13-0 early in the game. A lot of quarterbacks you'd see, they'd come out, first play, they try to go over the top, score quick. You see Craig O'Brien, he's going to stick with what works, drive the ball down the field. Let's see what comes of it here on second down.
ONS lining up for the second play of this drive. O'Brien looking, and again to Tony Lala, gets stopped by by Morsink after a gain of about 4 or 5 yards.
And you can see, Darren, I'm keeping a close eye on Robbie running his routes there from the slot. You could see that they have, Marco Bertoldi kind of shadowing over him. The other safety seems to have a close eye on him. You have to know when you're facing a team like ONS or whoever Robbie's playing with, he's usually the go-to guy when it comes to the deep ball. So you can see that the Incredibles are paying extra attention to him.
Well, that one worked for a little bit of a game, but they'll need more than that if they want to continue this drive. It's now third down for ONS. Quick pass to Robbie Robinson, out of his fingers. A little bit low, a little bit hard for him to catch.
Good jump, though. Good jump by Bertoldi there to cut off and knock down that quick out to Robbie Robinson. So now you see again. Fourth down early in the game, Darren. Obviously you don't want to punt here. I see what ONS is doing, but this is a huge play. Here it comes.
Yeah, I'm not. Look, we had a situation like this in the Division E Championship, and Steve Hodhod was questioning the decision of the team to go for it on fourth down, especially early. This is even earlier than that, but I understand when you're facing against an offense the caliber of the Incredibles, you don't want to be down 3 scores.
Yeah, and they've gotten this far with their offense, so I like ONS's moxie here. I like the decision. Let's see if it pays off.
O'Brien now rolling to his right slightly, going back over the middle. That pass is batted down by Jacob Peterson. Turnover on downs. That play didn't look like it ever had a chance.
And here we go, Darren. This is where a game can get ugly fast. We've seen it in the finals. As great of a team as ONS is, as we've seen in the past with other great teams, great finalists, when a team falls behind 3 scores early in the game, it could get ugly fast. So let's hope ONS here, for the sake of this game, can make a stop.
They're gonna have to. It's gonna be very, very hard for them. This, especially giving an Incredibles offense like this great field position. I mean, this is where they destroy teams. So far it has been fairly balanced, but I think we'll start to see the usual suspects chip in more and more as the game goes on. Stern with a great pass out to Morsink, who gets a catch, but there is a flag on the play. What do you think it is, Rob?
I think he might get him for an offensive kind of charge or push off or something of that sort. I think the penalty will go on Morsink. I'm not a ref, though, and that's why I'm up here in the booth with you.
That's right. Yeah,
so we'll see the call.
And we've got about, 15 refs sitting in front of us right now, so they might not be too happy about you making calls from the booth here.
Let's see.
We'll see what the call
it seems like they're backing up the bag 5 yards. So it looked like it seemed like after the catch there seemed to be a little contact there from the offensive player.
Well, look, this is the break that ONS needed, Rob. They needed something to go their way. They'll take whatever they can get. Penalties, a good start. Now they need Adams to maybe step up with a sack or at least put some pressure. A floater intercepted. They need something to go their way. Down 13-0 at this juncture of the game.
And if you're ONS here, you gotta hope for a Hensley Adams rushed pass, and you gotta hope for a guy like Robbie or Corey Cook to step in front of a quick hook here and see if they can bring it back. Stop and go by Jacob Peterson.
And Robbie Robinson
read it. He read it,
but he should have picked that ball off.
He should have.
He had his hands there. He was right in front of it. It was perfectly played by him. That's where you see that veteran experience of Robbie Robinson, guy who's played a lot of Division I football in this league. Time with the Hurricanes, and he's a name that's very well known to anybody who follows this league regularly. Great play by him. They didn't bring it down, but that's the kind of break they needed. They needed an INT there. We're going to see they're going to have to do it again.
Yeah, and you know what? Most players in this league are happy with that pass defense, but Robbie's got to bring that ball down, and he knows it. He's
frustrated.
He's not one of the best players in the league for no reason.
Exactly. This brings up another down here for the Stern-led offense for the Incredibles. Now he's looking, and he checks down to Scott Booth, who makes the catch and evades a tackle and then doesn't get past the second one, though there is a flag on the play. Let's see what the call from the officials is going to be.
And the reception gets them very short yardage, but referee Jose Pita does have him for a flag guard, so that will back them up. That will actually result in negative yardage for the Incredibles. I wonder if ONS will actually accept or decline this penalty, however.
We'll have to see now. It's going to be an interesting decision for them to make. Do you gamble on giving the Incredibles, extra room like that, an extra down, or do you just push them back? We're going to have to see.
I think the result of the play was a 1 yard gain there, and so I would give them the yard and take away a down. Absolutely. I mean, an offense like the Incredibles averages much more than 1 yard per play. We both know that.
Yeah, exactly. But it seems like they have pushed them back.
Third down
now.
Unless, I think it might be added on. I think the penalty, it's downs continued.
Right, because there was a completion. It was after the completion. Yeah. That makes sense, yeah. So third down now. Third down, about midfield for the Incredibles. things have finally started, looking a little bit better for the ONS defense. They're going to try and keep on that roll now. Incredibles finally meeting a little bit of resistance. Stern taking the snap, looking, and goes to Nardone with a great catch and an extra move. Doesn't get much yards after that, but what a catch, what a play by Vince Nardone.
And that's where you see the power of Vince Nardone. That wasn't a great throw by Greg Stern. It was a little behind him. Tanner Burrell, great read on the play, jumped up, but Vince Nardone, the strong hands, goes up, picks the ball out of the air, and those are the type of catches you need to advance the chains, or in this case, beanbags.
Yes, that's right. Well, until we add the chains, I still think for the finals we could add chains.
Are you gonna be the one moving the chains?
No, but Eagle could do it.
Let's worry about technical difficulties here up in the booth before we worry about adding chains, in my opinion, anyway.
Well, again, Eagle. I put that all on Eagle, 100%. All right, so great play by Vince Nardone, bringing a more manageable yardage situation now. Stern surveying the field. He looking to his left the whole time. He's got Bertoldi, but it is through his hands. It would have been a great catch by Bertoldi if he had come down with it. And
if you were watching closely there, Darren, you see that Robbie kind of gave Jacob Peterson one of those taps on the behind, saying you had me there. Jacob Peterson he beat him up on a skinny post there, right up the seam, wide open, and it's rare that Greg Stern misses especially his number one target, Jacob Peterson, on a play like that.
Well, we said ONS needed a break. They just got it. Turnover on downs. They're back into it now, down 13-0. This is a chance for Craig O'Brien to settle things down, continue to matriculate the ball downfield, and get some points on the board. First pass is to Robbie Robinson, who gets some yards after the catch. He's dancing down the sideline, cuts back inside, and is finally tackled by Vince Nardone after a gain of about 12 or 13 yards.
Sometimes, Darren, when you watch a football game, especially a championship game, there's two things. There's the actual tangible stuff that's on the field, and then there's the actual, psychological stuff. For ONS, you got to think that's a huge boost, knowing that you can stop the Incredibles. You need that first stop. Your defense, you come into the game, you're confident, you've stopped teams all year long. But, when you're facing an offense like this, you need that first stop to show yourself, you know what, we can stop these guys.
Absolutely. O'Brien now, first down after that big completion to Robbie Robinson. Looking down the left side of his field, going back to the right, and he's got Robbie Robinson, who gets past Morsink and gets some extra yards, finally tackled by Marco Bertoldi. You saw Morsink take that chance, and I don't think they'll begrudge him taking that chance. You got to gamble a little bit to win in this
Absolutely
league.
not.
So now here we go. It's first. I believe they got the first down after that one. It's going to be first and goal. Who's the go-to guy here? For me, I'm looking at a guy like Tony Lala, but do you have any other thoughts? Somebody else they might go to?
You know what? It's a balanced offense. Look for Jeff Millar maybe on the outside. Let's see.
Well, here we go, and it's Robbie Robinson with a great catch, great, well-designed play, and the one-night stands are back in this thing. Score is now 13-6.
For all the young quarterbacks watching this, see the play call there of Craig O'Brien. You can see the double outs. A lot of quarterbacks in this league, especially in the lower divisions, young guys, they think they like to scan the whole field, and it makes their lives more difficult. You see on that play, he sends two guys, one guy on the goal line, one guy in the back, read the defender and make the throw. Great play by Craig O'Brien.
Yep. So this brings up an interesting situation. Obviously, I would go for one in this situation. I don't think it makes any sense to go for two. They're going to go to try and narrow the margin to 6 points. 13-7 would be the score if they get it. It's 13-6 right now. And we are actually going to be joined for this extra point and maybe a little bit further than that by a special guest, Flag Plus Football Hall of Famer, actually the first FPF Hall of Famer, one Carbon Police. Carbon, what are your thoughts on this game so far?
Well, it's a contrast in style at quarterback. You've got Greg Stern, who probably has the nicest technique of anyone currently playing the game. And on the other side, he's being matched, by Craig O'Brien, who might have the most unorthodox style. It's been it's fun to watch. If you notice Greg, he's always in a position to throw. He's a thing of beauty to watch.
And as we said that, as you were speaking, they converted on that extra point, and it is now 13-7 lead for the Incredibles. 5 minutes ago we weren't sure if this was going to be they might run away with this game, but here we go. There's life.
I'm curious to ask a guy like Carmen. Carmen, you've been around since day one, so you've seen guys kind of grow up in the league. What do you think of a guy like Greg Stern and the Incredibles? Kind of slowly working their way up and eventually playing in the D1 or D2 against guys like you.
He's so much fun to watch. Like I said, he's always in great position. He just threw a beautiful ball there.
And Marco Bertoldi with the big catch, gaining a lot of yardage, and this is where the Incredibles are at their most dangerous. You give them a lot of field to work with. Greg Stern can really pick apart the defense, the opposing defenses. Sorry, continue, Carmen.
No worries. He does have one tendency to look deep and then short, which you'll notice he'll throw a lot of little dump-offs off his back foot. he is looking for the home run on almost every play.
Patience.
Yeah,
is
patience.
something that-
Patience is something that a guy like Carmen Puliche rode all the way to the Hall of Fame and several championships. It's something that hopefully we'll see Greg Stern develop, especially as he goes in higher divisions. Right at this point, it's too easy for him. So the deep's always open. He's not going to check down, but it might not be the same forever. Greg Stern now, after a first down pass, is looking to the right, all the way, pumps, gets past Hinsley Adams. Great move by him, and he's going to run and try and make it into the end zone. Unbelievable run by a guy who we've seen run maybe 5 times all season. Touchdown run by Greg Stern.
It's his second nifty run of the half. He's proven to be quite mobile today.
Well, you're a guy who we wouldn't necessarily associate with like the mobile style of quarterbacking, but you two have always shown that ability to take it when it's given to you. What are you looking for in that situation? What's your decision making there?
Well, ONS so far has been playing a lot of man-to-man defense where they have faith in their rusher to get to the quarterback very quickly, so they're very, very aggressive. And Greg, once he beats him, he knows that he's got space to go because the defense is following the receiver. They're not really paying attention to him.
Stern now looking to the left, and again, a good rush, but great catch by Bertoldi, who does not make it in. Robbie Robinson gets the tackle early. Score will remain 19-7, lead for the Incredibles. You know, the ONS started hitting back, but the Incredibles showed that they still know how to do what they do best, and that's to score that quick touchdown to maintain their lead.
And Carm, what do you think? Just watching some of the other guys on ONS there. I mean, you've played against guys like O'Brien and Lala and Robinson for a long time here. What can we expect from them, like moving on and later into the game?
Well, you saw it on the last drive. It's going to be a heavy dose of Robbie Robinson, and why not? The guy is a freak of nature, can catch everything. He's fast as all heck, and he's got great hands.
And we see him here with the chair route. Beautiful throw by Craig O'Brien. Drops it right into the bucket. You know what? That wasn't the best route by Robbie. I've seen him run better ones, and it seems like the Incredibles kind of saw it coming. But the teardrop throw by Craig O'Brien seemed to be dropped right in the perfect spot there to complete that pass.
Well, I'll tell you, every time that he sees man-to-man defense, if that's his first read, he's going to look at Robbie. He didn't do it on the first drive, and there was a nice interception in the end zone, but ever since then, every time he's seen man, it's been Robbie Robinson. It's not even a question of doubt.
And who could blame him, right? Is there anybody on the Incredibles defense that can match up with Robbie Robinson?
All game? I don't think so. You've got people that can state every now and then, but then it's law of averages. Robbie is just way too talented.
And now we're seeing Tony Lala get back into the game. On that last drive, he maybe didn't get as many looks, but he's going to be a key target for him. Carmen, as a guy who's had a lot of great snappers in your career, how important is the play and the chemistry between the quarterback and the snapper?
Snapper, in my estimation, is the number 3 guy in your team. You're obviously looking QB first. Rusher sets the tone for the defense, but person who gets the ball to the quarterback, and I've had some amazing ones who make life as a QB very easy. Benny Goodfriend, Paul LaPierre, Don Shepard. When you really don't have to watch the ball, it's just going to hit you in the hands. You can just watch the defense. It makes your life so much easier. You get that first read. You're not having to pay attention to is the ball going to go to the left, right, or what have you. You just put your hands up and it hits you. It's a massive advantage for any quarterback.
And you know what, Carmen, I'll ask you. I was alluding to earlier in the game how a guy like Craig O'Brien tends to, probably have a little more difficulty against the man defense just based on the strength of his arm. And, he's a smart guy. He can read his zone quite well. And obviously a guy like you, obviously a stronger arm than a guy like Craig O'Brien. But people have said about you in the past, a guy like Carmen will pick apart your zone. Your best bet is to beat him with a man defense. Can you explain to us, how you feel about going against a man defense as compared to a zone, and is there any truth to that rumor? I mean, is that, do you have more difficulty with the man defense? I'm putting you on the spot here.
You're asking me to give away all the secrets. Actually, it is very true that I would prefer playing against the zone defense than a man. I run more of a systematic offense. When we run up into the man, you're looking for specific players rather than having faith in the team. Makes it a more of one-on-one game.
And speaking of one-on-one, Robbie Robinson just got by Marco Bertoldi, and that's not a matchup that they like to see very often if you're an Incredibles fan. And beats him for a touchdown. The score is now 19-13, a 6-point lead for the Incredibles. And just like that, we saw they struggled at the start, but ONS has really turned it up in their last 2 drives.
And go figure. It's the Golden Chrome himself, Robbie Robinson, leading the way. Anytime he sees man, always going to look for him.
And they're going to have to find, the Incredibles are going to have to find some kind of answer. As much as the Incredibles have some dominant offensive talents, they need to find an answer for Robbie Robinson, because if he's going to keep if O'Brien's going to keep picking them apart, it's going to be a very, very long night for the defense. As Sapasi, just as I'm saying that, Alex Sapasi, the unheralded and underrated rusher for the Incredibles, comes up with a sack. Score remains 19-13, 6 points.
First time we bring up his name tonight, Darren, but it's funny. Tony Tibet had mentioned it a few weeks back when they played against the Wolverines. Alex Sapasi, excellent young rusher, very fast. You won't see him jump very often. He's pretty disciplined, and as we know it from the rusher position, it's kind of a balance in between being disciplined and not biting on too many pump fakes and so on and so forth, but also having the speed to match. So Alex Sapasi seems to be a rusher with a lot of potential going forward.
Next drive for the Incredibles as Stern surveys the field, looking deep down to the right side, and that ball could have been intercepted. Wasn't, but a good defensive play on the last play of the half. Score remains 19-13, 6-point lead for the Incredibles. The ONS will start with the ball in the second half, so it's really still anybody's game here. Carmen, your thoughts on the first half so far?
Well, I think we've seen what we were expecting to see. Greg's been very steady with the ball. Again, that contrast in style, that last sec we saw by the Incredibles rusher just illustrates it. Craig had the ball low at his waist, not in a throwing position, whereas we've seen Greg a few times this half, rusher in his face, but the ball's ready to throw, and he's able to get off that 6-7 yard pass, which all we would have needed for the 1-point convert would have been that 6-7 yard pass.
If you're ONS, is there anything you change at this point, or just keep going slow and steady?
ONS has made a reputation for being that second half team. They've stayed within one score right now. They get the ball first. I'm not sure you change anything right now.
So just continue, really stay the course, and just hope that your individual talents will take over. Is there anybody they need to get more involved here in the offense? We've seen a lot of Tony Lala, we've seen a lot of Robbie Robinson. Do they need to avoid falling into those same patterns? I'm
very shocked that Mr. Lariviere hasn't gotten. He's normally outdoors, one of Owi's favorite targets. I'm very surprised he hasn't seen more action so far.
Absolutely. Rob, your thoughts on this first half? How about from the Incredibles side? Is there anything they need to do a little bit better, anything they need to adjust, or just even on their end as well, just believe in their talent and just keep going with the strategy that brought them here?
Well, you got to think, Darren, like Carmen alluded to, it's you can see that Craig O'Brien seems to be favoring Robbie Robinson more than anybody else, and who can blame him, right? But yeah, I guess they got to keep focusing on trying to to a certain extent double team Robbie Robinson, make sure he doesn't beat you over the top. If he's going to beat you with 5 yard hooks, then so be it. You'd rather see a guy like that kind of matriculate the ball down the field as opposed to beating you over the top. But they definitely have to place that emphasis now that I don't think they were very familiar with ONS. They hadn't really seen these guys this season or ever before. So now they've gotten that feel for them. They can see, Craig O'Brien, how he throws the ball. We've seen a few times that they were very close to knocking a ball down or even picking it off. So with a guy like Owi, the balls will always be close. He's not a guy with a rifle for an arm. He's going to be smart. He's going to pick apart your zone. So they got to try to read that play a bit earlier and knock the ball down or even pick it off.
All right, well, it looks like we're getting ready to start off the second half here. It's been a well-played half. I think usually we see a lot of jitters in the start of a finals game. We haven't really seen that on either side, which I expected since both teams have a lot of experience prior in the finals. ONS obviously have experience throughout levels of football, but I'm saying even they made the finals. A lot of this core has experience there too. Carm, look, you're obviously one of the preeminent playoff performers here. Did you ever get jitters when you were starting a game or anything like that? Is there ever any situations like that you went through?
I can't say that I ever had any more jitters before a playoff game than any other game. I've always felt that you just take the game for what it is and don't allow the game to be bigger than it should be.
Well, both teams have definitely done that so far. O'Brien with a quick pass to Chris Pinsino gets a catch on the left sideline. It's stopped after a gain of about 10 yards. First down.
So we see right away Craig O'Brien starting to include some new guys in the offense. Chris Pinsino got a look early in the game. We didn't hear much from him after that, so we'll see if he's going to try to spread the ball around a little more.
Another guy, Hinsley Adams, we really haven't seen much from, and he's a bit more of a deep threat for this team. Haven't really seen him included. I think he got one look earlier on in the game and not much since then. He's not even on the offense right now. So we'll see as they adjust and try and bring up different matchups, try and trip up the Incredibles defense. Incredibles who basically don't have a bench. O'Brien rolls to his left, cuts back to his right, and has Miller on the sideline, but that pass goes through the fingertips of Miller.
I'm going to make a little comment. I think that always calling plays to his left, which is right of the camera right now, and you can see Robbie when he comes off the line. He's almost giving away the play. I don't know if
that's something the Incredibles might pick up on or not. Usually I mean, a guy like Vince Nardone is a very intelligent defensive play caller. Hopefully he's noticed that for their sake. But it's something we'll have to keep an eye on throughout the game, see if that rings true or if they switch things up a little bit.
Can we dig a little deeper, Carm? What do you mean? What's he tipping off?
Well, the fact the ball's going the other side, he's not even taking 2 steps. It's, if I'm on the defense at that point, I'm out looking over Robbie. I'm letting the guys on the right know the ball's coming their way because he's not going that hard at times.
Low snap, good job by Craig O'Brien getting it. Oh my God, dropped. He had Robbie Robinson throwing it over the top, a beautiful rainbow pass. So Robinson did a great job getting that open, but I think he might have lost it on the lights.
So that's 3 plays in a row that the Incredibles have gone to a zone defense. They had ended the first half, the last 2 series more in man-to-man. They've started off the second half with a lot more zone and going to try and make OE beat them that way, reading the play rather than just relying on his receivers to run by people.
Well, and obviously the Incredibles do have a lot of individual talent, but they're not necessarily known as the best individual defenders. They're more of an offensive team, so playing that man coverage, like you said, maybe not to their strengths. They seem to be showing a bit more zone. We'll see if that continues. O'Brien looking to his left, goes underneath, catch made by number 81, Brian Lariviere, who you mentioned you'd like to see get more involved, Carmen.
He's a massive target. He runs very good routes. That's not the biggest in terms of speed, but he's very, very sure-handed. Knows how to sit down in his zone when that's the time, and there he didn't break off his pattern. He read zone, read the out was going to be wide open, and he ran a very smooth pattern.
And we saw them in man defense there, guys, as Carmen mentioned earlier on. So we'll see if it's something that they'll continue with, or if they're mixing it in a little.
Well, I think you can't run just one thing all the way, right? So they've got to mix it up. But it seems like zone's been more their preferred type thing, which is what they go to. As Tony Lala goes for a catch, gains a couple of yards, but really not all that much. Tackled by Marco Bertoldi. Rob, ONS so far basically going by the game plan. Craig O'Brien, you've seen.
Have you seen their game plan?
Have you seen, what do you mean?
Have you seen their game plan?
No, but I'm saying it's everything.
they're sticking to script.
They're sticking to the script.
The historical
exactly.
script.
Yeah, exactly. Your thoughts on Craig O'Brien? I mean, you've seen him through this league for so long. Back in the Water Buffaloes days, they won a championship 2009, won a championship as a receiver as well. What does it make that makes this guy so good?
Well, he's just a smart football player.
As we see a touchdown here.
A touchdown to Brian Lariviere there to put them to actually tie up the football game at 19. So, I mean, what makes him look? I mean, Craig O'Brien, he's a smart quarterback. I think Craig's the type of guy, he knows where he stands. I mean, I don't think he's at the level of, of the Wyatts or the Poliches or the Byers or the Kastners in this league, but, he's probably very much deserving to be in that next level. And, he's never the type of guy to take a ton of shots down the field or force it. You see some other quarterbacks in the league, sometimes they try to force throws that even if they know they can't make them, they seems to, they're trying to prove something almost, Craig O'Brien is a smart guy. He'll take what the defense gives him. He knows how to read a defense, and he'll make the plays.
He does a very good job of playing within himself.
Absolutely.
And now with that extra point conversion to Jeff Miller, it is a 20-19 lead for the One Night Stands. And here we go. Just like that, they're back on top.
Also one of the most likable guys in the league. I'm sure Carmen will back that up.
Almost, and I definitely will state, almost all of the ONS boys are well liked around the league. You can find them after the game having a couple of soda pops and being friendly with everyone who will stop by and have one with them.
Stern looking to reply after ONS takes the lead. He's looking down the right side of the field. Vince Nardone with a great attempt, but fantastic coverage by
Corey Cook.
Corey Cook there, yeah, that's it.
Product of the Bishop's Gators, if I'm not mistaken, or former product, I should say.
What Incredibles now on 2nd and 10. They're looking to reply after ONS takes that lead. Historically, Carmen, you as a guy who's played in a lot of big games, how important is starting off that second half on the right foot?
I don't like to give away any drive. I mean, whether it be the first half, second half, it's kind of irrelevant to me. But you definitely want to be able to reply when a team comes out with a score, especially when they just took a 1-point lead. You want to be able to get back on top.
And Vince Nardone comes up with a catch there, getting a few extra yards, but not much as he's stopped by Corey Cook.
And they say it's a game of inches, Darren. See, early on in the game when ONS was going for it on 4th down and they're already down by 2 scores, this game could have gotten out of hand quite quick and it could have gotten ugly quite fast. But instead they bounce back and look at them. Now early on in the second half, they have the lead.
Well, you're talking about a series we were actually looking at on the sidelines where the Incredibles had a chance to make it 3-0 and 4 throws of in excess of 10 yards by Greg Stern went incomplete.
That's it. And like you said, it's kind of that patience, right? Maybe not necessarily try and go deep on every single one. We saw him go short there to Jacob Peterson for a 5-yard gain. That brings them a first down at around midfield. Good job by Peterson and Stern hooking up, as they have done so many times in the past. Again, now we're just past midfield. We're in the second half. They just gained another first down. Incredible so far doing what they need to do to keep up with ONS. They're down 1 point, though. And they'll need to continue, maybe try and get some more people involved. We've seen a lot of Peterson, a little bit of Nardone, not much else. Going deep over the middle, throwing it up there. That ball could have been picked, but it's batted away. Brian Lariviere got a hand on it.
And that's confidence in your receiver, Carmen, because putting the ball up like that's not something we see too often from Greg Stern. Putting it up, basically, a jump ball between Brian Lariviere and his receiver, Vince Nardone.
You can say that's a little bit of the inexperience of Greg Stern as well. That was on first down. You will rarely see some of the older, if you will, more experienced QBs doing that on first down. If you start throwing it away, you're going to put it more in someone's shoelaces or a foot out of bounds rather than just saying, here, let's fight for the ball.
2nd down and 10 for the Incredibles offense. Greg Stern receiving the snap, looking to his left, goes over the middle. Jacob Peterson wide open and drops it. That you will not see happen often in this league. I haven't seen it happen in the finals. Last year when he destroyed his opponent's defense, but just a drop. He was wide open.
Darren, that rang a bell. If you remember a few years back,
Shane Williams.
It was Shane Williams, exactly. It was that famous Division I final, old school Expos, and one of the top receivers in the game drops a ball that he'll never drop. The old school was lucky enough to come back and win that game, and Shane was as well. So we'll see if that ends up being a play that cost him.
This brings up 3rd and 10 for the Incredibles offense, looking like they might just stall at midfield, although it is 4-down territory, of course. Stern takes the snap, looking over the middle to the left now to Booth. He drops it, and Robbie Robinson, if he was just a few steps back, could have picked that one off. That brings up 4th down and 10 at about just past midfield. Key moment for the ONS defense, who have really stepped up to their game on this drive.
Carmen, what are you doing here on offense? Is there any chance that a confident quarterback would punt the ball in this situation? Especially being on the other side of midfield.
You're asking the wrong guy about punting a football. I think since 2005 I've punted once. That's not something I normally do. You have faith in the system. If you can't get 10 yards, to be quite honest, then you shouldn't be playing this game.
And this far, at midfield, really, you're gaining like 10 yards anyways, or if you punt. So it's not worth it. 4th down, Stern looking left. Peterson coming
nice
back
ball.
down the sideline. Great pass.
That was fun to watch.
Yeah, great job by them. This is really what they do best. Nice route by Peterson to get the first down, and that brings them just to the shadow of the end zone.
And Carmen, on a play like that, you see Greg Stern go to his old reliable. What's the importance of you see that's really a timing pattern there on the sideline. Basically, Jacob Peterson ran an 11-yard hook to get that first down. Tell us about the importance of chemistry between a quarterback and a receiver on a play like that.
That's something you can't teach. That's just something you have to experience play after play, practice after practice, throw after throw. That's the hours and hours and hours of playing and throwing to the same people over and over again.
1st and goal on the 2-yard line. Peterson pumps, gets past Inslee Adams. I don't think he can run anyways. He was way too close, so that's going to be a penalty. He's in the red zone, but sometimes instinct just takes over and you make the wrong decision.
Oh, I've been there a few times where you just completely forget where you are on the field, especially when you've got a rusher coming in like that. And you said it, instinct takes over, and just as you're crossing the line of scrimmage, you go, oops, I'm not allowed to do that.
Too little too late for that realization. They will lose a few yards there.
I believe it's a loss of down, actually. There.
Just a loss of down. Okay, so then that brings up 2nd and goal on the 2, so still very manageable. They've got 3 more downs to try and punch this in. But again, like I alluded to earlier with you, Rob, there's a difference in size here, and it's kind of hard when you get that close to the red zone. I don't know who on the Incredibles will be able to beat someone or muscle someone out for a ball here. We'll have to see what happens. Bringing up 2nd and goal on the 2-yard line. Stern rolling to his left, now cutting back to his right, but is sacked by Inslee Adams. No more of that. He lost him on the last play, did not lose him on this one. And they're celebrating as that brings up 3rd and goal, but after a loss of looks like about 7 or 8 yards.
I find it interesting because Greg takes a very short snap that he doesn't throw many in patterns or short slant ins or short slant outs. He tries to throw everything there. He was looking back at the end zone out with the roll. Unfortunately, it doesn't suit well with his short drop. The rusher's at him very quickly.
So now we're at third down, but the Incredibles just lost some yards. Third down, Greg Stern looking to rebound after a couple of miscues. Looking to his right, and he's got Lipman, but he's not into the end zone, steps out of bounds, but it is ruled a catch by official Steve Hodhod. Corey Cook on the coverage there, bringing them closer now, and that will bring up fourth down.
Well, he basically got back the yards that he lost on the sack.
So here we go, fourth and goal on the 2-yard line. Obviously a pivotal moment for both teams. Incredibles down a point here. They've driven down the field. It hasn't been beautiful every single time. Came up big on fourth down before. They're doing it again now. They're going to go for it. We'll see who the key man will be for them on this fourth down. Greg Stern waiting for the snap. He gets it. He's looking. Pumps to his right. Goes back to his right. Vince Nardone open. The corner of the end zone. Touchdown Incredibles. The score is now 25-20. Carmen, what did you see there?
It was fun to watch. I'm kind of surprised that ONS is not picking up on the fact that he throws almost all of his end zone plays at the back of the end zone. There's nothing short, nothing in or out. Everything's the back corner or deep post.
And it worked for them again. Score is 25-20. It's a 5-point lead. If you're ONS, still no need to panic. Obviously, things have been going their way for the most part, with the exception of that early interception, which really seems to be the difference so far.
But I do have to say, I am very jealous of his throwing motion. It is so fun to watch.
Stern looking left, and he hits Peterson, who almost dropped that one too. But it is caught, and it is a 6-point lead, giving them a little bit of that breathing room. They do not have to worry about a touchdown necessarily being their downfall.
It's funny. Defense. I don't know if Greg was listening to me, but he just threw a quick out, just to prove me that I'm a liar.
Well, no, not a liar. You call it as you see it. But sometimes you adjust yourself, right, as a quarterback. I'm sure you've been there where, you run something and it's your easy play, your go-to play, but then you realize, wait a minute, this has been open all the time.
Carmen, if I can ask you, how early in the game do you start worrying about extra points? So now it's 26-20. As a veteran quarterback, they say there's, in tackle football in the NFL, you say there's almost like a book to follow as far as time and when you should start trying to go for two. What's your take on converts? Because it looks like it might become one of those games where it comes down to them.
Whenever you got the chance to make it 2 scores, so the dreaded 9 points, that's when you start making sure you go for 2. When you can make it a 2-touchdown game, again, most people think 2 touchdowns, you go either 12 or 14, but 2 touchdowns is really, it's a 9-point lead. Anytime you have that opportunity, that's when you should be taking that shot for 2. And again, it depends on what type of matchups you've got going. If you've got a slower rusher and you're able to get that opportunity for 2, because you got to remember, the receivers have to run those patterns. And if the rushers get into you very quickly and you can only have your receivers get to the front of the end zone by the time the rusher's at you, then you can't run the 2 points, because if the defense only has to cover the front of the end zone, the odds are in their favor.
First down for the ONS offense. Craig O'Brien looking to respond. He buys himself some extra time, makes the pass to Robbie Robinson. Great defensive play by Vince Nardone getting in front of that one.
It's fun to watch. Incredibles are playing a little bit more of zone. They're forcing Craig to read rather than just react to whoever's covering Robbie. It's obvious that he's hesitating a little bit and trying to go back to his backside. He's done that 3 times now.
His security blanket seems to have been Robbie Robinson so far in this game. We see Hinsley Adams is back in the offensive unit now. We'll have to see if he gets some more balls thrown his way. O'Brien takes a snap, a bit of a low snap, looking to his right, and gets Robbie Robinson. Catches it near the sideline, finally steps out of bounds, but after a gain of about 10 or 11 yards. Great play for them. Get some breathing room, get some positive momentum, and this is it now. It's we're starting to, the clock is starting to tick, and it's going to be score for score. I guess it'll be settled by whoever has the ball last.
Well, when Owie feels the pressure and he knows he needs to push the ball downfield a little bit, you can tell he's going to look for Robbie.
Craig O'Brien waiting to take the snap at about midfield after a first down catch by Robbie Robinson. Caught by Chris Pincinot down the sideline, breaks some tackles, and makes it into the end zone. They'll take it any way they can. I'm sure they weren't designing that, but hey, missed tackles can be your friend as a receiver, and that is a touchdown by Chris Pincinot.
You definitely don't design a 5-yard out to go 20 yards for a touchdown.
Darren, I have a question for you. Have we ever had an overtime game besides that Montreal's Finest Hurricanes, an overtime championship game? I believe that is the only one.
To my recollection, that seems to be the only one.
Yeah, so It'd be interesting to see if this game would make it there.
We've seen a lot of games come close, though.
Still early on, but
Yep. Well, it's a tie game now, 26-26. Extra points are very, very important in every game, especially in the finals, as O'Brien looks to the right, and that ball is caught by Hinsley Adams, and it is a 1-point lead. The ONS, one thing, they've been very, very good at extra points so far in this game, and that's important. It's very, very important, and you might see it come into play later on.
Curious to see if the Incredibles are going to pick up on the fact that almost all short yardage plays near the end zone have been ins.
Seems to be more of a comfort zone for Craig at quarterback. I feel like I'm the only one calling him Craig, though.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was his real name for 4 years.
Well, you do. I guess you do. Greg Stern gets the snap, looking to reply. Adams all over him. That ball is gotten out, but it does not make it to its intended target. Great rush by Adams. Stern's got to get that ball out quicker.
No, that was a very good rush by Mr. Adams, and he was in control the entire way, even though the quarterback went down. That had more to the fact that he was throwing off his back foot and sort of leaning backwards, and anything to do with the rushers interfering with him.
Excellent point by Carmen. So we'll make sure that the next time a Carmen-led team complains about a rusher interference, we'll dig up this audio clip, Darren. It's a very good point, because we do see that offense. See, Greg Stern is on his back foot, falling down, and obviously your momentum takes you down with any contact, even if it's as light as it may be.
Stern with a catch by Nardone, a bit of a physical tackle there. I think we might see things start to escalate here a little bit, as both teams sensing what a crucial point in this game we're at. It was 1-point lead for ONS.
You know, that was a good football play. A lot of people know me very well. One of my favorite sayings is that we're playing football and not ping pong. There is a little bit of physicality in the game. I don't think anyone that was involved in that play is going to complain at all.
No, I don't think so either. But again, it just takes things up a little. Now every ball will be contested, and that's the way it really should be. It makes for a better football. Pump fake by Stern, and he throws it. Bad pass. I don't know if the route was bad or the pass was bad, but one thing's sure: the result is bad for the Incredibles, as Robbie Robinson comes up with the INT.
It seems to me, sorry Carmen, but it seems to me like Marco Bertoldi was running about a 7-yard hook, and you see Jacob was running about a 10-yard. It seems like the throw was in almost no man's land, Carmen. I'm curious to see who Greg was going for with that ball.
Greg originally was going to the post from the right wide receiver. I didn't see what number it was. Unfortunately, I don't know the players as well as everyone else. And he checked down in the same motion, and the ball just sailed on him a little bit.
And see, that's the power of a fast and effective rush.
First down now, going deep is O'Brien, and Nardone almost got that one back. Robbie Robinson did a great job closing in on that ball, but a little bit inaccurate on that pass.
Actually, if I can go back one play, that wasn't actually Mr. Adams that influenced that play. It was Corey Cook on the defense who just absolutely stoned the post pattern, and Greg decided to check down on it.
Just misfired, and we saw the result. It was an interception. ONS now has a 1-point lead and has the ball back, and things have swung in their favor. A lot of momentum swings in this game, but so far the gods seem to be smiling on ONS on this drive, or at least in this half, I should say. Craig O'Brien takes the snap, rolls a little bit to his left, goes back over the middle, and then interception by Lippman. And he might go all the way. He might run it in. Pick six. What a momentum swing. Incredibles off the fingertips of, I believe it was Tony Lala. Falls right into the lap of Kevin Lippman, who returns it, turns that corner, and gets 6. What a momentum swing for the Incredibles. It looked like they might be down. Now they are back up. And it is a 5-point lead for the Incredibles over ONS.
Shades of the Winter Division 4 semifinals. Kevin Libman with 2 pick sixes in that game, and coming up big again in a big game for the Incredibles.
Now they're going for the extra point with a 5-point lead. Obviously, this is very, very important. They're going for one to make sure that it remains a 6-point difference. If not, otherwise ONS could take a late score and win the game. So very, very important at this juncture of the game. Stern looking to his right, and he's got Lippman at the front of the end zone, makes it in, right just inside of the front pylon, and that's a 1-point convert. Successful 33-27 lead for the Incredibles. A little bit of
well, Tony Lala seems to be chirping a little bit. He's been a little bit upset since that interception on the first drive where the Incredibles defender did not give the ball back to ONS but sort of span it in the corner.
Well, here we go. 6-point lead. Clock is starting to wind its way down to the end of the game. There can't be that much time left. Craig O'Brien has to respond here. We've seen him go to Robbie Robinson time and time again. Do you think this will continue to be the Robbie Robinson show? It's certainly not. Well, pass to Hinsley Adams. Great job getting in front, but there is a flag on the play. What did you guys see there? What do you think the call will be?
He got there early. I mean, it's part of the game. He hit him a little bit early. It's a good catch. It's a good decision by Owie. I think right now, if I'm Owie, I'm looking at Brian LaRiviere. He's got a big mismatch in terms of physicality and size on his DB.
Rob, your thoughts here? Any adjustments for O'Brien to make? Would you do the same thing? Is there anybody else who should be getting involved at this point?
Well, a guy like Brian LaRiviere, as you're driving down the field, a big body who can kind of box off the defenders is always a big weapon. But I mean, he has a whole arsenal of weapons here, Darren. So it's all about making the right decision and not putting the ball at risk of being intercepted.
And O'Brien's been very good this season at spreading the ball around. Nobody's done it better in FPF this season, if you ask me. He's looking to his left now, going deep down the sideline, just past the fingertips. Looked like Peterson might have had a shot at it, but it was just a bit too high for him and out past the reach of Brian LaRiviere, who you just mentioned.
I don't think that out and up tricked the Incredibles defense very much, so I think Craig O'Brien actually got lucky with that one, that it sailed out and over.
He did. They sat in his zone and they sat back and read the play perfectly. No one panicked. The DBs stayed home, which is exactly what they're supposed to do. It was, that's the perfect defensive call against what Owie had there. He was open for man.
Timeout called by the Incredibles. They're going to maybe change what they're looking at. Maybe we see Greg Stern coming out on the field. There's something maybe he sees that he wants to go over with them, with his team. But Vince Nardone also calming the team down, making sure that they're all on the same page, as this is a big moment. We've got a 6-point lead for the Incredibles here. ONS at about just past midfield. Things seem to be going well for both teams. Really, it's just been trading scores. Any adjustment that needs to be made, I think that they probably made it at the second half. At this point, it's just play your football and hope for the best, right?
Yeah, this is, you have confidence in what you've been doing. Always seen almost everything you can throw at him. Mm-hmm. There he read zone, and he made sure that if his receiver couldn't catch up to the ball, no one was going to. I don't think anyone should need to panic or adjust anything. They're comfortable in what they've been doing to date.
Well, here we go. Craig O'Brien waiting for the snap. I believe this is second down. O'Brien looking to his left, and that pass is caught by Chris Pensano. Great catch by him on the sideline. Small gain, but every yard counts at this point.
5 plays left, Darren.
All right, 5 plays left. Well, here we go.
A curious question we can ask Carmen here. In this situation, Carmen, oftentimes you'll hear murmurs on the sideline. A defense should let them score, be confident in your offense. Is there any truth to that? Do you feel that a confident defense would ever allow someone to score on purpose in a situation like this?
We have. Depends on how confident you are in your offense to turn around and score.
Well, we know the Incredibles are definitely confident of that. Craig O'Brien with the pass to Adams, who gets mauled and tackled. About 1 yard shy of the end zone.
Well, the flag came out at the same time.
Yeah, no, it was a great job by the defender. I believe it was Bertoldi, kind of making sure that he didn't impede his progress too much in getting that tackle. And that brings up a 1st and goal situation. There are 4 plays left in the game, and now what Rob brought up really comes into play. The Incredibles might be thinking you might want to let him in, give your offense a chance to come back. But it's a 6-point lead, and you can still hope for tie and go to the overtime.
I think if it's a 5-point game here, Dan, the thought becomes a lot more, because you don't want to let the guy in with 1 play left where you're basically just throwing up a prayer.
O'Brien throws it to Adams. Touchdown! Adams has been a much bigger contributor in the second half for this team, and they're going for 1. It is now a tie game, 33-33. There will be 3 plays left after the convert, and it's they're going for the win, basically.
And the trend continues. I don't know if the Incredibles obviously haven't been listening in on a broadcast, but anytime the short yardage play is required, it's all been slant ins from Owie.
So we'll see now. I mean, this is the big play here, the convert. Are we going to have a tie game with 3 plays left? Are the Incredibles going to be, in a position where it's win or lose?
No matter what, we're guaranteed one hell of an exciting finish as Craig O'Brien gets ready for this important extra point play. He's looking to his left. Now he's going back to his right. Throws it up. Robbie Robinson comes down with the catch.
It seemed like he stepped out.
I saw the same thing. Yeah, I saw the same thing as you, Rob. I think he stepped out on the back line before coming back in. We're going to see what the referees call here. This is a big, big call.
Steve Haddad is shaking it off.
And there's a team now, if he's pushed out of bounds, Darren, do we know exactly how the rule works? Carmen, Darren, if the receiver is guided out of bounds by a receiver, by a defender.
Well, I'll defer to the man who helped write the rule book and the man who owns the league on this one.
I've been told that I no longer write that rule book. Normally, even if you're forced out, you're not allowed to come back in. You can sometimes get a call from the referees on the defender for unnecessary roughness or illegal contact if they force them out, but
we didn't see that there.
Once out of bounds, you're out of bounds.
Well, the end result is a 1-point lead for ONS. Saw that for much of the second half. And but if there's a team who's going to come back, it's going to be the Incredibles. They've got 3 plays to do it, which is definitely enough for this offense to manage to score and
they cut
take
the field
win.
in half here. That's
it.
the big question.
Well, I think so. I don't think you go for the juggler right away. Stern looking to the right. He does exactly that. Hits Nardone. Gain of about 10 yards. And right now they're at midfield. 2 plays left in this game. We know it's going to be one of the big guys who's got to step up here.
Carmen, let me ask you a question. Would you rather be in the position of the ONS team right now or the Incredibles? Having the lead but on defense, or trailing with 2 plays left with the ball at midfield?
If you've seen some of the defenses I've played on in the past 4 or 5 years, I'd rather have the ball and a chance to win.
Spoken like a true quarterback.
Incredibles now, they have 2 plays to make it about, I would say, 20, 25 yards. They definitely have the weapons to do it. Greg Stern getting ready to receive the snap. He does, looking to his left, and he goes deep down the sideline. Almost intercepted. Was that a pick?
It looked like he got his toes down.
Oh
that
my
is a
God.
Pick.
That is an incredible play. I've seen a lot of incredible plays in FPF, a lot in the Championship Roadshow edition. I've never seen anything like that. What a play to end it.
Proverbial nail in the coffin. That was fun to watch.
I'm speechless. I've never seen anything like that. What a great way to end this game for Robbie Robinson. I think my guess is he'll be Finals MVP. I can't imagine it going to anybody else, as the ONS are the Division C champions. What a finish. Carmen, final thoughts on this game?
It was fun to watch. I've heard a few teams mention, and I think I believe I mentioned it as well. ONS second half team. They don't panic. They've been there before. Owe is just, again, he's very confident in what he's doing. He plays within himself. There's a little bit of miscommunication, if you will, at the beginning of the game, but he shook that off and stayed true to what he was doing.
Rob, your final thoughts?
Excellent game, fun to watch. You know, it's always nice to see a game come down to the last second. Usually, you know, we can stick that sticker on early in the second half, so it was nice to see a game come down to that final play. Hell of a play by Robbie Robinson, and you know, big players make big plays at the right time, and that's exactly what Robbie did to cap this game off.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations to the Incredibles for making it this far. I think we can all agree that they've been on a heck of a run for the year 2013. They did a great job in this game and in this season making it this far. Hats off to them. I can't wait to see what they'll do in higher divisions as well. Congratulations to them, obviously, for doing what they did, but special congratulations go out to the newly minted Spring Division C champions, One Night Stands. Congratulations go out to them and to their captain, Tony Lala. Final thoughts here as we see the Finals MVP award being handed out, or I can't see if they've handed it out yet, Rob. You see? Well, I really don't. I see the jerseys. I don't even see the playoff MVP trophy. They're on the floor. I think it must have been Robbie Robinson, right?
We'll see in the post game.
Well, anyways, congratulations to the newly minted Division C champion ONS. What a game. We will now throw it back to myself hosting the post-game panel along with our panel of experts. So that's it from us. I'll see you guys in a few minutes.